everyone. I'm Ashley from ThisOurDailyLife, and today I have the lovely Michaela from Maison Chatillon joining me. And so Michaela, what are we going to be talking about today?
Today we're talking about, health, nutrition, and kind of our take on the way that ties into self-love and improvement in your life, in your daily life, and also your overall elegance.
And Michaela's channel focuses on self-improvement and elegance, and my channel focuses on just kind of the joys and the philosophy of everyday life. I think a lot of people miss what daily life is really about, and they get lost in the shuffle. So you need to be finding the poetry in every day, and you need to be finding the meaning every day. So I feel like we're going to complement each other very well.
Yes.
One of the things about my life and then also your life is we have struggled with healthy eating, and I struggled with healthy eating for quite a long time. When I was younger, we had a lot of healthy food in the house, but we just had so much going on. My mom was sick. A lot of my people from my channel will know my story, and so it was just a very hectic time, and things are hectic. It's very hard to find time for scheduled meals, and a lot of times eating gets very disordered. And one of the things that I'm very passionate about is when you are eating things out of order, that is disordered eating, which isn't eating disorder. So if the first thing that you do, and I am guilty of this, and you shared with me the struggles that you have, but if you get up first thing in the morning and you go to the fridge and you grab your ice cream or your cookies or carbs right away, that you're not supposed to be eating first thing in the morning, or you are binging or whatever, that's just eating out of order. It's disorder. It's disordered eating or an eating disorder. So the first thing that I think is really important about becoming healthy is you have to tell yourself that you are healthy. So you can no longer say to yourself, I am trying to be healthy, or I will be healthy, or someday I'll achieve this goal. You have to wake up, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am a healthy person. And then you have to treat yourself as such. So I feel like that is incredibly empowering, and I used to teach weight loss classes at my local YMCA, and this was something we came up with as a group. This wasn't even on our curriculum, but everyone felt so empowered the next week, and to just be able to step into that space where you say, I am a healthy person, not I'm going to be, because going to be, it's like what Yoda says, do or do not, there is no try.
Very fair, yes. And I think one of the things about just telling yourself, I am healthy right now. I have all the tools that I need right now, like I am well. That is a control that you give to yourself over yourself. And I think for me, one of the things that really I'd say it sparked my eating disorder from a young age was I had a lack of control in my life and in my whole world. I came from a big family. I am one of 8 people, and it's just, there's a lot that can go on in a big family, and it's hard to get a lot of the attention that you need as a young child when you have so many other siblings, and that's not even the main issue. It's okay, you have a big loving family, but it does come along with its struggles and its trials, and so there's an aspect of control that you don't really have when, first of all, your parents, both my parents worked 40-hour weeks or more. My mom ran a business from home. My dad was like an executive chef at Microsoft, and honestly, they had a lot of pressure on their shoulders, and then they're both raising 6 young kids, and so they didn't really have everything together all the time, and who does? I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying that kind of created an atmosphere of stress for me, and because of that, I felt out of control of my life, my environment, my surroundings. And so as I got a little older and I got more creative, I found ways to control that and control at least what I felt like was controlling the things that were out of control in my life. One thing is I did grow up eating, learning to eat very, gourmet foods as my dad's a chef, but it wasn't in any way encouragement to eat, the kind of foods and nutrients that your body really needs. There's a lot of, carbs and all of that, and I'm not saying you can't have carbohydrates. I'm just saying we grew up eating rice for every meal, curry, rice, and pasta, and it's amazing. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I didn't get the proper education on nutrition that I really think it's so important to instill on your children from a young age. So I kind of struggled with, fluctuating weight as I was getting into my teens, and I would say my later teens, probably about 17, 18 is when I started to notice it. It was never bad. However, I was always a thin child, And so when I did start to notice my body getting a little curvier, I felt so out of control of it, and I didn't understand that it was okay and it was natural, because my parents were so focused in on everything they were doing that they didn't talk to me about that. My mother didn't really explain everything to me about becoming a woman and how all this was natural. I felt so out of control, and so I started finding ways, what I thought were, to control my life so I could, heal my mind, and it actually just caused a lot more chaos. I would, have trouble with my proportions of eating, and then I would feel guilty, and then I would just do this cycle over and over, but truly just created a more chaotic mind for myself. It didn't give me that control that I craved.
What was the main thing that got you past that cycle?
Well, I tried a lot of things. I tried being so strict. I tried a ketogenic diet, which it's not all bad. Actually, there's a lot of benefits to that. And if people are needing to lose weight, right now, because you're having heart problems and all kinds of issues, that's a very, very great method. And that's not just me saying that. I'm not a doctor. Just do the research yourself. However, it was too rigid for me and for the person who struggles with control, because I was trying to give myself an easier way out of being intuitive with the way I eat. It was okay, follow this exact method, and I will be able to have control again of my body and what I eat. And I realized I would still get in the same cycle, and even if it was healthy, ketogenic style or approved foods, I would notice I would still struggle with proportions, and I wouldn't feel good. I would feel insecure. I would feel why isn't this working for me? And the truth is, the one thing that really helped me was intermittent fasting. And okay, I've heard a lot of people say if you have an eating disorder, be careful with that. But I'm just saying, try it, because it sounds so strict. It sounds like you're I will not eat this time. But truly, having self-discipline is really important. And so you're giving yourself a time period, and it doesn't have to be extremely long. It doesn't mean you have to fast for a whole day or 2 days, but just start with making sure you have a set period of time, maybe 12 hours. And that includes the time you're asleep, so that makes it pretty easy. 12 to 16 hours where give your body a break from processing and digesting your food, and then at noon or whenever it's been that allotted time, the 16 hours, then you can have your first meal, and then you just eat. You could even eat basically whatever you feel like. I would say still be careful with the
carbs. Don't wait all day and then have 12 packs of cookies.
And you're not going to feel good. And the thing is, when you are giving yourself less of a time period to eat your food, you want to really focus in on what your body needs and how to refuel yourself, and what to eat that will keep you fueled and energized for that whole portion of time that you're not eating. But after practicing that for a while and getting comfortable with it, I honestly noticed I was not struggling at all anymore with my proportions and with my, I don't even want to say my eating disorder, but with disorderly eating.
Yes.
I realized I was I actually have this control over it now, and it's not a diet. You have to think of it as a lifestyle. I might do this for 5 days a week, and then on the weekends, it's fine. If I feel like eating right when I wake up, I let myself, because I'm very into intuitive eating now, and that's helped me a lot. But having those guidelines of the intermittent fasting, I know it's not just about how much weight you can lose while you're doing that, because you can, but it's about all the other benefits you're getting when you're giving your body a break. So that's something I really recommend, and that helped me so much.
Absolutely. And with the intermittent fasting, I do want to bring up this point. One of the things to think about when you start doing this, because a lot of times we go into that panic mode of eating, right? So you have or even just you're not thinking about it. But a lot of times for me it would be a panic thing, because it's you feel you all of a sudden you feel like you have to eat all of it, and you don't, or I always binge, so it just becomes a really bad habit. And the thing to think about is you can always have a treat later. A lot of times when you go into the dieting phase, the reason why it doesn't work is because you feel your brain is going, I am not being rewarded. I want the reward now, and so then you're going to go to the thing that's the quickest, right? Which is usually sugar, carbs, fat, all the things that we love. And so what you want to do is you want to tell yourself, I can have that. I can have that. And that's what you're saying about intermittent fasting. But I need to put it in its proper place. So you don't tell yourself, I can't have cookies. Because all of a sudden, what are you going to want to do? run out to the store and buy as many cookies as you can so that you can, and we always do that thing too. This is the last time, right? Which is,
exactly.
This is the last time.
It doesn't matter. Tomorrow. It's like tomorrow. There's always tomorrow.
It's so true. But it doesn't work. It does not work. So you have to tell yourself, I can have a cookie, but I need to be putting it in the proper place and I need to be having it in the proper order. So you tell yourself, I can have a cookie at 3 o'clock today. And so then you look forward to the cookie at 3 o'clock and you don't eat cookies in the morning. And then you enjoy the cookie when you have it, because when you're binge eating, you honestly don't even taste it. You really don't. You are shoveling food in your mouth as quickly as you can and you don't even enjoy it. When you have fasted and you sit down to eat something, oh, it is the best thing you've ever had. So if you think you love cookies now, just wait till you haven't had a cookie for a while and then you're like, oh, a cookie, and you get so happy. So thank you for that point, Michaela. That's just wonderful. So the next point that I have is to be gentle with yourself. You need to be gentle but firm with yourself. A lot of times I think that people, they take either being firm with themselves or gentle with themselves to the extreme. So if you are so gentle with yourself that you're like, oh, it doesn't really matter, and you're just kind of frolicking through your day and you end up just eating whatever you want to eat, and at the end of the day you feel really awful, and again you go to the, well, you can always do it tomorrow, and then you're never going to do it. And then some people get so strict with themselves that they come up with these regimens that you're like, you are not going to be able to sustain that. And like you always say, sustainable workouts, sustainable eating, right? So you want to have something in your life that you can have for more than 24 hours. If you tell yourself, I'm going to do P90X in the morning, and then I'm going to, like, you know what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to do, like a 5-mile run, and then I'm going to wait to eat until 12:30, and then at that lunch I'm only going to have a smoothie, and then before bed I'll have some celery. Like, you are going to die. You are going to hate yourself, you're going to hate your life, and you're going to die. So you want to make sure that you are being gentle but firm with yourself. So you say and you be your own loving parent. A lot of times we are looking for someone to tell us what to do, especially if you've been in hectic or abusive situations. You want to kind of have someone give you structure, but you need to provide yourself with structure. So, and a lot of times we revel in this false freedom that eating the bad food brings us, but it actually destroys your life because you get brain fog, you're tired, you're sluggish, you're not able to do the things that you really want to do. You don't have energy to go hang out with friends. You feel terrible, you feel bloated, you just feel gross, and so you're actually stealing from your own life force. So you want to be able to give back to yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and pass that over to you.
Well, what's interesting about that too is, it's like you're saying, being your own parent, so you are strict, but also gentle with yourself. Something to keep in mind is being gentle with yourself. So whatever gets rewarded gets repeated. So if you're getting up at 5 a.m. doing your insane workouts, where's the reward in that? You're kind of just really suffering, and yes, your body's going to end up looking good, but the thing is, no matter how hard you're working out, it's still a slow process, so you're not really enjoying it while it's happening. And I think your life is right now. It's not really in the 60 days it's going to take for your body to finally be that summer body. That's not it, So you need to make sure everything you do, even though it needs to be you need to be strict. You need to make sure you're getting exercise. You can't just let your body go and think you're going to be healthy, because you're not. You have to have control of your body, but you also have to reward yourself. So I think it's really, really useful to set up structured rewards. If you are fasting until most of the day, and then you have a healthy breakfast and stuff, but letting yourself look forward to that cookie at 3 o'clock, and not just telling yourself you can't have it. Letting yourself have the things that you want and enjoy. I think that little reward, or you could do it something like, okay, at the end of my whole day, my busy, stressful day, and then fasting and working out and everything I do, I'm gonna let myself have a real spa bubble bath. Just something so rewarding to you.
Yes. Yeah.
I just think there's so many different scales and levels you can do that.
Yes.
But I think that's really important.
Also, I really do think that non-food rewards, especially when you begin, is really important, because you have to start retraining your brain that to not associate food with emotion. So, because you shouldn't be eating out of emotion. We do eat to celebrate, which is wonderful, and I think God is all about celebratory eating. There's a lot of feasts in the Bible, but you want to have that in its proper place. If you are trying to feast every day, you are going to end up feeling sick. You have a feast at a very special time. And so if you can reward yourself with, going to a favorite movie, or going to a pretty destination, or having that bubble bath, or reading your favorite book, or watching a show. And I remember there was a time when I was working out, but I would tell myself, because there were screens in the on your on the workout station that I was at, and I would say, you can only watch that show when you're working out. And I worked out quite a bit because I really wanted to watch that show. So that was very helpful. So those are like those clever little rewards that you can come up with to help yourself.
Perfect. One thing that I think is going to make this whole process easier, and not only easier, it's actually key. It's one of the main keys to being able to have that discipline with yourself and to have true control of your life and yourself is getting enough sleep. When you are sleep deprived and you are tired, honestly, it is one of the biggest reasons that you're struggling with your eating and your weight gain. Even if you have a million terrible things going on in your life, I'm sorry for that. But honestly, if you're not letting yourself rest and get proper sleep, the first thing your mind and your body is going to think about when you wake up, and this is something that Ashley just said before we started filming, is, you have no energy, right? Because you didn't get enough sleep, you're not filled up, your battery is not charged. And so what are you going to do? You're going to reach for carbs and sugar because what are calories? It's energy. So you're going to find a way to give yourself more energy. And honestly, let's be real. When you haven't slept all night, you're not going to make yourself a healthy omelet. Okay? It's not going to happen. It's not how
unless you are highly disciplined.
Or you have a chef. That's awesome. Or you have an amazing husband.
Yes.
But still, so making sure you get enough sleep is so important. And I have a lot of tips because I know a lot of people do struggle with, there are so many different sleeping disorders, but I think a lot of it, and some of the main points is you have a hard time turning their minds off before bed.
Yes.
Yes. So I know that Ashley actually has, when she has time for it, she has a nightly ritual that she does, and you can see it on her channel. I believe it's on your channel.
Yes.
And I thought that was really cool because you give yourself a set period of time where you are winding down. And we are such a go society. So it's really hard sometimes to really switch from that mode into it's time to rest and relax. And we think that, right before bed, we can be on our phones, playing on our phones, and just filling our minds with movies and all these new thoughts and ideas. Honestly, you shouldn't be working out before bed. You can do some stretches, something relaxing, but you shouldn't be getting your heart rate up at all before bed. You shouldn't be, watching movies, or, a lot of people fall asleep to movies and TV shows, and then I don't feel very rested when I wake up. It's because you're filling your mind with all of the scripts and things going on, and you're just not calming your mind down. So we're just rejoining standing up because we want to stretch.
Yes. And everyone knows on this channel. So I really have a hard time with a degenerative disc disease. Also, if you believe in prayer, right? Because I really want to be healed. So we had to stand up, and Michaela is accommodating me. Thank you.
Yeah, it's nice to stand.
Yes.
But you just need to get more sleep, and I think, shutting off your technology, don't look at your screens, don't look at those blue lights, keep them off, lower your lights. That's something that she always talks about is in your household, turn on a nice little lamp, don't have your overhead lights on, all this fluorescent lights, keep it low if you need to. I actually love taking a shower at night because, first of all, I love getting in my bed when I'm clean, but that hot water makes it I'm ready to go to sleep. I used to really struggle sleeping, but also we were talking about supplements, so perhaps taking a melatonin, that's really helpful, but you do need to actually research the amount of melatonin you need to take because you might find that actually a whole capsule is too much for you, so you need to really figure that out, what kind of milligrams you need to start. I have been taking melatonin for a year and maybe more, and I don't even take a whole capsule. So it depends on how strong they are, but just wind down, get the good sleep. Maybe you need some peaceful music to settle you down, kind of like a baby yourself. It's okay, baby. Just baby yourself.
Yes. And then I know that they sell melatonin at places like Trader Joe's, and they have they have them at a lot of different stores. What I would say though is anytime you take a supplement, please be careful where you buy it and what ingredients are in it, because you do not want to have anything that has any kind of corn. You don't want any really cheap supplement because that's just going to harm you in the long run. They put so much awful stuff into supplements sometimes, so just don't do that.
It's a filler. You don't want all those fillers.
No.
Get as close to the real deal as you can, and so many of the ingredients in the labels are so confusing.
Yes.
Take a minute and look it up because educating yourself is important, and also you'll know what you're putting into your body.
Exactly. So please be careful with that. For me, I use Calm Magnesium. It's a drink, and I am doing it with calcium just because of like my bones and things. So you can do that if you feel like the magnesium by itself is a little bit too much. And the other thing that I like to do too is always have a sleeping scent, because once you get sleepy and you have a smell associated with it, your olfactory bulbs are very, very, like that's some of the strongest stuff that you can for a healthy habit. So, and you can even do that if you like have a good day, like spray a certain scent, and then if you want to like kind of go back to that day, spray the same scent. So for me right now, I'm using orange scent to go to sleep. I used to use eucalyptus, which I really do like eucalyptus, but I feel like sometimes it's a little strong, and like, but orange makes me happier when I fall asleep. So yeah,
citrus is important. Also, I did want to mention something that's really foolproof to make you tired before bed is reading. Reading a real book. A Kindle is great too if it doesn't have the backlight on it, because that's still like a screen. But a real book is just so nice, and the scent and everything. I mean, that's just my own personal preference, but reading is really important because you're doing nothing but zoning in on the story happening there, and then it's just so much easier to fall asleep and clear your mind before you go to sleep. When you're finally ready to lie down and close your eyes, all of your anxieties, all of your worries, everything you're stressed about and thinking about and planning, you might be excited about things, but just mentally take the squeegee from the car wash and just squeegee all of your thoughts away.
I love that.
Just picture that. 'Cause some people say couch sheep, because it's people don't understand why people say that, but it's because you're doing nothing else but focusing on one thought that you're continuously thinking about, and so you're not thinking about everything else which is keeping you awake. But that's kind of my way to do it. I just think of like a windshield wiping away all of my thoughts, and that might make me sound crazy, but that's okay.
No, it's fine. I love it. Or you can do a really hard math problem for a bit. That'll
shut you down. That might be really fast. Okay, so another thing I actually did want to talk about is daily fatigue, because you may get actually a full night of sleep, but you notice in your daily life you are still exhausted, and there's a few reasons why that might be from my own experience. Your cortisol levels, you might be raising them too often with things like coffee and caffeine, because what that is it's kind of like an adrenaline rush and you crash from it. So starting to wean yourself off of like an extreme amount of caffeine, having a huge coffee in the morning or multiple cups. I know a lot of people that have to have like 3 or 4 cups to wake up in the day, and like, I'm not gonna lie, that was me, in the past. And I have to tell you, it will make you crash, and you don't really realize it until you stop doing it as often or you lower the intake. And also is the way you eat. So when you're having a lot of carbohydrates in your diet, especially with every meal, I think it's important to have a little bit of carbs in your day. I really do, but from a good source, like, sweet potatoes are awesome. And there's other good ways to have carbs, a little bit of fruit. Although fruit actually, the fructose in that will also spike your insulin levels. So don't get tricked by, eat more fruits and vegetables. If you eat a lot of fruit, you might still struggle with weight gain. But I'm talking about fatigue right now specifically, because those carbohydrates will spike your insulin levels. And what happens when your insulin levels are spiked is they'll crash. So it's because the carbohydrates turn into sugar in your body. So it's like when you give a little kid sugar. We all know a little kid's gonna get hyper and then they're gonna crash. When you're an adult, having sugar or having carbohydrates, you don't even get to be hyper from it at all. You just crash. And there's that, what people joke is like a food coma. Even if you just eat too much, but when you eat carbohydrates, you'll notice you get a lot more sleepy afterwards. So lower that and eat more like real food, like whole foods, Eat a lot more like vegetables, if you eat meat, eat more meats, like good grass-fed beef and stuff like that. Eggs are great, avocados, things, as long as you're not allergic, things that are like wholesome, that will really help with your overall energy levels. And the last point about fatigue I want to talk about is music and the media you're consuming. You might not realize this, or maybe you've heard it before and you don't necessarily align with this in your own opinion, but the music and the movies you watch and the TV shows you watch, they all have an effect on your mood, and they influence your mood a lot. It's all energy. And if the energy is negative or depressing, it's going to make you a lot more tired, and I'll tell you why. One of the definitions of depression is actually, this is just me paraphrasing, but it's basically to be motionless and not to be moving. And what happens is when you do get sad, when you do get depressed, you're not very active. You don't feel like being active, and you might not even realize, a really sad song, it might not actually make you like crying in your car or something, but it does have that kind of exhausting effect on you because that's the energy it's giving you in your mind. And I know a lot of people who are going through hard times, and this was me too. I would listen to sad music and maybe music that's not outright saying negative things, but it made me sad. It made me feel a little down. I kind of thought of that as something that relates to me, so it comforted me in a way. But that actually in no way is going to help you. It just actually kind of kindles the fire of your sadness and your depression, no matter what you're going through. So go out of your way to uplift yourself in what you listen to. And if you just can't stand music because you think, positive music because you think it's too cheesy, you could listen to classical music.
Yes.
You could listen to podcasts or audiobooks of positive and insightful things and actually learn when you're listening to it. But don't give up on music. Start, seeking different styles of music. Look for the things that you like in the category of more positive and uplifting music. Also, music about lyrics.
Yes.
I'm all about jazz music. I'm all about classical music. Not every single song and every artist, no, but I'm really into that because lyrics are also really important to me too, and they're more important to you than you might realize the way they affect you. So just be more careful with that, and I think that will really help you fatigue because I promise it helped with mine.
Yes, and you are programming yourself. So if you put a lot of that depressing stuff in, you're programming yourself to be sad. I love Switchfoot and John Foreman stuff. Like I feel like it's very uplifting, and he's got so many different genres that he's done. So you can check it out. And then the other thing about chronic fatigue is there actually is chronic fatigue syndrome, which is more of a medical issue, which is what I had. And so I had to treat it through, because I have Hashimoto's thyroid, so I had to treat that through natural thyroid. I did do Synthroid for a while. I don't do any more pharmaceuticals. I think that they're awful and they will harm you more than help you. So I take Nutrimed thyroid, and then I also took an adrenal supplement for a while because my adrenals were shot. If you have a lot of cortisol from stressful situations, or even possibly from caffeine, if you're like hyping yourself up too much, you can end up shooting your adrenals. So you have to treat that. And then also, if you are that fatigued, take a few days off and just sleep. Like let your body catch up. Allow yourself to really relax, because I think a lot of times we sleep, but we're like really tense sleeping,
Yeah.
It's like grinding your teeth at night, you're tossing, you're turning, you're not really resting. So you have to learn how to rest. Rest is work. Rest is work. Okay. So, did you have another point before?
Yes, just to tie in the points that I've been kind of making for this video, I wanted to talk about your overall health, so your nutrition and everything. That's going to affect your self-confidence and your self-esteem, because the way it makes you appear, when you are putting in that effort and you're making those positive changes, it's not just that you will be healthier on the inside, you will look healthier on the outside. And the thing is, when you look healthier on the outside, you actually do look more beautiful. And I'm not saying that, physical beauty is the number one important thing and focus on that. That's not what I'm saying. But the thing is, people are more attracted to healthy looking people because you want to be like that. You want that in your life, and so you want to be around that. It's that simple. Okay, so I was going to talk about actually taking better care of your teeth. So besides just brushing your teeth, everyone knows that, you really do need to start flossing your teeth. And I've talked about this in one of my videos. I'm not going to get into too much of the nitty-gritty as to why, but the thing is, when you are brushing your teeth, you're not really cleaning in between your teeth, and that's really important because that will slowly decay your teeth if you don't get all of that food and everything out. Just saying. And a lot of people think brushing really hard will compensate for that, but it won't. In fact, it'll actually cause gum recession, and you'll see it a lot in elderly people because they have years and years of abuse on their teeth and brushing your teeth and everything. So it's basically when your gums are like not where they're supposed to be. They're receding, okay? And young people are getting that more frequently. I've talked to a few dentists about this actually, because they don't want to floss, and they also feel guilty for it because they know they're supposed to. And so they overbrush. They overbrush their teeth, and you're actually causing harm to your teeth by doing that. Not just your teeth, your gums, and you only get one real set of adult teeth, so you need to take care of that. And I actually also heard from a dentist that somebody asked him, do you really need to floss your teeth? Like, this is off the record, I'm not your patient, tell me the real deal. And he said, no, only the teeth that you want to keep. And also Ashley's mother says that too. She says, another point I want to talk about with healthy habits is taking better care of your hair. no matter what type of hair, I'm kind of speaking very universally on this, you need to be careful not to aggressively brush through your hair. If you have tangles and knots, use your hands and your fingers to get them out because it's gentle, and when you are doing that, just getting the comb or the brush through your hair, you are causing tears and
breaking.
You are, and we both have fine hair, so we both know you need to be, especially with fine hair, really careful because all of those little when you cause breakage or anything, you're gonna notice it so much in your hair. And also another tip is don't sleep with your hair in like a hair tie, like a real hair tie. There's those fabric scrunchies, those are okay. Silk ones are the best because it's so gentle on your hair, but those fabric soft scrunchies are fine as long as you don't tie it really tight. But an actual hair band will actually be cutting into your hair when you're sleeping and you're moving around. Even if it's on the top of your head, it's unavoidable. And you'll take your hair down, and if you actually shine a light closely, you'll see breakage all through that. And when you have hair that's really broken, I'm not saying it doesn't make you look beautiful. It's not true at all. But if you do go out of your way and start taking more care of that, you're going to see it a lot less. And that shiny and healthy hair is going to make you look a lot healthier. And actually, Ashley was talking about this product that you can leave in your hair after it's wet.
Yes, so this is Kerastase, and I want to say it's called Sweet Nectar, so I will leave a link for you guys. But I just have been putting a little bit on my hair, and that has changed my life because I used to use a lot of hairspray, and then I would spray my hair, and if you have fine hair, you know that if you spray it breaks. So I had like literally up in the front just this nice little poof of just broken hairs. And so once I started putting that on there, it allows the hair to lay down but grow down instead of being like it's sticking up and then you just kind of smush it down with some hairspray and then it keeps breaking off. So I would love to give you a sample because I feel like you will love that.
I'd love to try this. And then the last point I want to make about another healthy habit that will help you have just really good self-esteem and look more healthy and beautiful is taking care of your skin. And everybody's obsessed with skincare these days, but you need to actually know what type of skin you have. And I'm not saying if you have acne that you don't look beautiful or you don't look healthy, because acne, it's like, oh my gosh, it's such a deep subject. There's so many reasons, and if you could be like the healthiest person possible and still have acne. So I'm not talking about that. But I mean being gentle on your skin and taking care of it for your older self too. A lot of people try out so many different skincare products and cleansing systems and masks and all this stuff. You really don't realize how harsh that is on your skin. You need to actually get to know what kind of products are right for your skin and will be gentle and hydrate your skin. You need to keep it hydrated. It's the largest organ on your body, so keep it hydrated. You'll thank me later.
Yes.
And honestly, when you're exfoliating, a lot of people talk about daily exfoliation, and I know that they're talking about obviously a very gentle exfoliation, but even be careful with that and really do your research because you are creating micro tears in your skin when you exfoliate. I know it can be very frustrating. You just want to clear your pores, but you need to take it slow and be gentle with your skin because when you're older, all of that wear and tear of you scrubbing and pulling at your skin is going to show, and you're going to wish that you didn't do that. So that's just a really huge tip I have for you to overall just look more beautiful because you look more healthy.
Baby your skin, baby your skin. So for our last couple of points, one of the things that I think is really important when you are having a binge moment or you are just trying to kick an unhealthy habit is to really sit with yourself and be quiet and try to figure out why you're doing what you're doing, because we all have some sort of reason for why we're doing something. So we've all had those stressful situations where we feel like the only thing that's going to get me through this is this type of ice cream, or I'm going to binge on this batch of cookies and this will be the last time I ever do it. And it's just not true. If you binge, guess what you're going to do the next day because you did it yesterday. You're like, well, I feel crappy anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and eat the bad food. And if you rely on that, tub of ice cream to get you through the hard time, you're just going to feel worse the next morning. And what I realized was that I was basically behaving like an alcoholic. And I just call that holic for anything. You can be a chocoholic, shopaholic, runaholic, anything. But if you're relying on other things to get you through, you're never going to feel satisfied because you're not doing what you were created to do, which is overcome the obstacle. You're not made to rely on different things. You're made to rely on God, and you're made to be strong. So I really think that it's important to sit with yourself, be quiet. And I remember there was a moment when I was binging in my car, which Michaela says, don't eat in your car. Don't eat in your car. There's so many reasons not to eat in your car. When I was sitting there, I ate a ton, and then I realized that I couldn't feel anything. And I realized that if I was full of food, I couldn't be full of emotion. And I needed to cry, but I didn't want to cry. And so I recognized how unhealthy that was. And I think what saved me was actually teaching health classes at the YMCA, because I was, every week, I was going, and this was like when I was still struggling. I was going in and I was telling people what to do to be healthy, and then I was like, I'm a hypocrite, you know what I mean? Because, but it did help me recognize so many things in myself where I was like, man, this is why I'm doing this. I'm tired today, so I ate too much. I'm stressed, and so I ate. I'm bored, so I ate. So you need to find the reason behind what you're doing, and it could even just be that it's a habit. I remember I used to have transitional eating problem. If I walked into my kitchen, no matter what time of day it was, whether I just came home, or even if I just was passing the room, I had to get a snack. It was like I felt like in order to transition through the day, I had to eat something. So you can break those habits. You don't have to eat the snack. You don't have to get into the binge, but you have to recognize the reason behind it. And then I feel like that kind of ties into our last point, where if you're feeling super overwhelmed and you are relying on these other things and you really feel like you can't break the habit that you have, I really encourage you to pray, because God cares about everything. He really cares about you, and He loves you. So if you are doing things that are harmful to yourself, that makes Him sad, because He did not create you to harm yourself. He created you to be, this amazing creator, and this person who loves other people, loves their life, and loves Him. And it's not that your life is always going to be good and rosy, and I mean, horrible things happen, but in that time we can be strong in Him. And when we're strong, that's like when we're achieving what we're supposed to do, because we're made to be warriors, we're made to be courageous. So when you overcome an obstacle, you feel so much better about yourself than if you just give in to something. So when you run up against something where you really can't fix it yourself, just be open to it with God. And I was saying earlier, if you have no one else to cry to Jesus, because he will never turn you away. He's never going to shut you down. A lot of times when you've been through really stressful situations, nobody in your family wants to hear about it. None of your friends want to hear about it. Maybe you can't afford a counselor, and you just need to be able to have someone who's always there. And the one person who's going to be able to do that is the wonderful counselor, and that is Jesus. So be open with Him and allow Him to really heal you, and you will find that your life is just so much better.
I couldn't agree more. Well, anyway, I feel like we covered all of our points that we wanted to. Thank you so much for having me
thank you for
on your
having
channel
me.
today. That was a lot of fun. I feel like I even learned a lot just laying this all out in an organized way. I think that's so helpful.
So thank you so much, Michaela, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and then please visit Michaela's channel, Maison de Chateau, and we will see you soon. Thank you so much for watching.
You're about. Workouts in the morning, your P90X or whatever, in the morning, I mean, who would? So sorry, there's peasants at the door.
Okay. Let me tell you now.
To start taking care of your teeth more, I know we all like to. Sorry, I'm just in this mode now.
I know we've been filming for a while,
so love to take care of your teeth. So don't get me twisted. I have no idea.
Don't lie to me. You love applause.
Yeah, it's like our movie all over again.
Okay.
Anyway, I was gonna say,